Greetings, I'm Professor Hobo, and welcome to another HOBOTECH News product review. Summer is here and it's getting hot outside. Whether you're camping, van lifing, RVing, you need a way to keep your food and drinks cold. You could use a cooler and buy a $3 bag of ice every day and forego any kind of frozen food, or you could splurge on a 12-volt compressor fridge. The problem is most dual zone fridge freezers are $400 or more. That's just too dang much for a lot of folks. But there's a solution, the SetPower PT Series. It's a back to the basics dual zone fridge freezer that can keep your ice cream rock hard and your beer ice cold for basically half the price of the competition. But is it any good? Let's find out. HOBOTECH. The PT Series is a dual zone fridge model by SetPower, and it's designed to blow away the competition on price. So no fancy apps, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, no fancy screens, no fancy compressors, no fancy stainless steel. In fact, there's nothing fancy about it. It's designed to be the cheapest way to keep your stuff simultaneously refrigerated on one side and frozen on the other without breaking the bank. The PT Series does come in 3 different sizes: the 37-quart PT35, the 47-quart PT45, and the 58-quart PT55. Today we're testing the smallest and least expensive version, the PT35. Being a dual zone design, it does offer 2 separate compartments with a split lid and locking latches. Either or both sides can be set to fridge or freezer mode, and of course one side can be set to a fridge while the other side set to a freezer. You can also easily shut off the cooling to one side to save energy if you don't need it. The temperature set to either side can be set as low as 0 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 17 Celsius. Like most other 12-volt fridges, it does offer both an Eco and Max mode. Eco mode runs the compressor slower to save energy and make it run quieter. If you're powering it from a lead-acid battery, it does include low, medium, and high settings for battery low voltage protection. As for construction, the entire fridge is of course ABS plastic with aluminum liners inside and these decorative aluminum covers outside. It has a pair of handles on the sides, which do fold, but are not spring-loaded. Note the fridge can operate at up to a 45-degree incline, making it perfect for off-roading, overlanding, and trail riding. Of course, it can handle basic camping duties as well. The fridge does include a heavy-duty 12-volt cigarette lighter style plug, and we saw this on a much more expensive brand refrigerator. It actually has 4 prongs on the sides to really keep this thing in. It also includes an AC power brick, which I'm using right now to keep it turned on, and you could use that to plug into AC power or an inverter. Inside, the PT35 sports a light in each compartment, so no problem seeing inside. Note there is no drain plug on this model. As for size and weight, it's 24 long by 16 wide by 17 inches high at a dainty 38 pounds. Other dimensions I'll go ahead and put on screen. Now, one of the ways SetPower keeps the cost of this fridge down is by not offering a fancy LCD display. Instead, it rocks a very Radio Shack-like LED display with green digits like you'd see on an alarm clock from the 90s. And everything is controlled by actual physical push buttons. The upside to this design is that this screen is actually quite water and dust resistant. And while there's no IP rating for this fridge, it does mention in the manual to not use it in heavy rain, which infers that light and moderate rain is just fine. Another upside is that the screen is easy to read in most conditions, although under very bright direct sun, it still can be difficult to make out those digits. As previously mentioned, there is no app for this fridge, which means no remote access. Just pretend you're partying like it's 1999, back in the days where you had to interact directly with people and things. It will make for a nostalgic experience. As for the warranty, SetPower offers an amazing 3-year warranty on the compressor and a 1-year warranty on everything else. 3-year compressor coverage is very generous at this price point. And of course, we took the SetPower here into my secret laboratory where I performed all kinds of crazy experiments on it. We're going to go ahead and test the SetPower fridge to see how long it takes to go from room temperature to 37 degrees on the refrigerator and 0 degrees on the freezer. So let's go ahead and add power. Fridge is on. You'll see I already have it set to 0 on the left and 37 on the right. We're on max mode. It's 70 degrees in this room, so we're at room temperature. Let's see how long it takes to cool down. Okay, we're back. The SetPower fridge compressor just shut off right at around 38.5 minutes. So it took 38.5 minutes to take this down to 0 on one side and 37 on the other side. That means the next test is going to be the 12-hour cooling test. So we'll go ahead and set this up to cool for 12 hours in the lab, and we'll measure and see how much power it uses. All right, after the 12-hour test, let's see what the temps are inside the fridge. Freezer is at 1 degree Fahrenheit. Fridge is at 38. That is awesome. Of course, we did a 12-hour consumption test in the lab. It consumed 345 watt hours over 12 hours, or extrapolated to 690 watt hours over 24 hours. This test was done under lab conditions at room temperature in eco mode. This result did seem a bit high to me, so I did run this test twice, and I got virtually identical results that were within only 2 watt hours of each other. So I reported the average of these two runs together. As for the 24-hour direct sunlight test, we used 698 watt hours during that test, which is a mix of nighttime temperatures in the 50s with daytime temperatures in the 80s. And if we extrapolate that result, the amount of watts used on average, it comes out to about 29 watts. And what I found really odd was that the outdoor direct sunlight test used virtually the same amount of power as the indoor lab test. And this is why I did the indoor lab test twice, because I'm going, that result's a little high, and it pretty much matches what we did outside, which I've never seen that happen before. The reality is the lower nighttime temperatures compensated for those higher daytime temps that were only in the 80s. Now, this outdoor test was performed in south-facing conditions during late June in Arizona, with moderate to heavy cloud cover as we enter our monsoon season. While the results were similar to the lab test, there really wasn't all that much sun that day, and I still don't recommend you use this fridge in direct sunlight. Instead, keep it in the shade to reduce power consumption. They also go easier on that compressor. One thing I did was download the results of the remote thermometer that I put inside I had in the freezer, and I noticed that during the peak heat of the day around 3 p.m., the freezer did warm up to about 19 degrees. Apparently running the compressor in eco mode instead of max mode wasn't enough to keep the compartment near 0 degrees. And I'm betting if I ran that same test using max mode, it would have consumed a lot more power, probably kept that temperature closer to 0 degrees. Now, I also put the thermometers in the fridge and freezer compartments during the indoor lab test and noticed that the PT35 held very near its set temperature of 37 degrees Fahrenheit and 0 degrees Fahrenheit for the fridge and freezer sides respectively. You can see the freezer average was minus 0.7 degrees Fahrenheit, while the fridge average was 39 degrees Fahrenheit. And being such a cheap fridge, that's pretty good performance in eco mode. And of course, I did do a decibel test to give you an idea of how loud that compressor runs in eco mode. 45 decibels. That's pretty quiet. So this energy guide comes with the SetPower fridge. It's specific for this model, the PT35. It says here it uses 171 kilowatt hours per year. So how many watt hours is that per day? This is very easy to figure out. This works for any fridge that has this guide. So you take this number, 171, and then you go divided by 365 for 365 days in a year equals 0.468. Now that's kilowatt hours. So that would be 0.468 kilowatt hours. You want to know how many watt hours? You multiply that by 1,000, and that gets you 468 watt hours per day. That's a 24-hour day on average. That sounds a little bit on the low side. My guess is that is if this was set to a refrigerator on both sides and not a refrigerator and freezer, because the results we saw were significantly higher than that for a 24-hour period. It doesn't say anywhere on this label specifically how they test. They just say it's a manual defrost and no through the door ice. Okay, so I've mentioned cheap and inexpensive several times in this review, and now you need to know how much. Well, the PT35 is not $400. It's not $300. It's not even $250. When you use my link and code in the description of this video, the PT35 is only, get this, $227. This makes it easily the cheapest 35-liter dual-zone fridge I can find by a name brand online. It's definitely one of the best deals that offers a 3-year compressor warranty. So what do I think about the SetPower? Well, I think it's about time we finally see some dirt cheap fridges again, especially dual zone models, which are way more popular than the single zone models. While the build quality of the PT35 isn't really the best or the fanciest, it certainly performed. It does use more power than expected in dual zone mode, but you're also not paying $800 for a fancy German compressor or 3 inches of space sage insulation. At this price point, you can expect a solid 3 years out of it, and if it dies in the interim, you have that warranty. At $227, it's pretty much impossible to complain when the competition is double or triple the price. So if you're interested in any of these SetPower PT Series fridges, the link is going to be in the description of this video below. I'm also going to put a link here at the bottom of the screen along with a QR code that you can scan on your mobile device if you're watching me on TV. It'll take you on over to the SetPower store page where you can check out the PT Series Dual Zone Fridge Freezer. Thanks for watching. If you learned something today, don't forget to give me that thumbs up below. And if you're not a subscriber already, you know what to do. That's it for now. Till next time.
Odin commands you to like and subscribe, and clean my litter box.